Hi, it's Andy, and today I'm filming the mid-year book freakout tag. So this is a tag that was created by Chami and Ellie, and I will tag them both down below. But I'm basically just going to go through the questions and answer them because that's how a tag works, Andy. That's how a tag works. The first question is the best book you've read so far in 2023. And for me, I have to say that is Happy Place by Emily Henry. This made me go through a whole roller coaster of emotions. I continue to say that Emily Henry gets better with every book she writes, and this just proves it to me that she continues to get better. I cannot wait for the next book because I just cannot think of where she has to go from here. This is about our two characters who are part of a friend group and they are engaged, and then they break up and don't tell their friends, and one of them, Harriet, is invited to a getaway with her friends to the place they always go, one of the lake houses of one of the friends, and she turns up and Win is there and he's like, "Hi sweetheart, hi honey," like pretend we're still together, and it just sends it into chaos. Like they're trying to pick a time to tell their friends that they're not together while all of their lives are falling apart. They're all losing things that they love, and I can't do this book justice. I've probably said a lot about it in other videos, so there's a vlog where I read this and I will have full thoughts in there, but this is just this book has stayed with me since I read it. The next question is the best sequel you've read so far in 2023, and I have to say I've not read very many sequels, like new sequels. I've been rereading a lot of stuff, so this one was a little more difficult. I've gone for Record of a Spaceborne Few by Becca Chambers. This book, I loved The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, but this book again is a book that I've been thinking about since I read it. This is about the people that stayed on the ships when Earth kind of ended up destroyed, like not destroyed, like exploded, destroyed, but like we ruined the planet. They escaped on ships and created these communities on the ships, and they have stayed on these ships since, and generations and generations and generations have lived on these ships, and now they live in a universe where they can quite easily live on terraformed worlds and other worlds where there are plenty of species and aliens and things like that, but they prefer to stay on their ships. And it broadens the world of this like universe that she's created in these books, and it is my favourite, I think, in the series, which actually surprised me. It's between this and The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, but I don't know, but this is the best sequel anyway. Next is my favourite reread of 2023. A lot of you are probably going to expect me to say Heartstopper, but I decided not to use it for this one and instead go with The Martian because I love rereading The Martian every year. It's something I look forward to all the time. I would really love to go back through this and tab and annotate this book just because there's so much that I want to highlight. I've already been underlining things, but in pencil because I was scared to take a pen to it, but I really want to go in on this book and tab it and annotate it and go to town, and I will do it the next time I read it. But it's just a book that I always look forward to rereading. I just love the character and the story. It's about Mark Watney, who's left on Mars when a mission goes south, and they think he's dead, but he's not, and he kind of has to decide whether or not he wants to survive, and then how is he going to survive? Well, the crew also don't know that he's not dead, and it just spirals from there. It is a sci-fi book set in the future, and the amount of research that's gone into this by the author is it's seriously impressive. The next question is the genre you've been loving / reading the most. For that, I think I'm actually going to say fantasy. I am not a fantasy reader really, but the fantasies that I've been picking up lately are the things that fall into fantasy, so a lot of it for me is paranormal, and sci-fi fantasy have been books that I've been thoroughly enjoying. So I think it would be a sort of lie to say that I've not been picking up a lot more fantasy than usual. Next question is a new release book that you haven't read yet but want to. And for that is The Shadow Cabinet by Juno Dawson. I am so looking forward to reading this. This is in my June July TBR, sorry. So I will be getting to this very, very soon. I am scared, very, very scared, because Judah Dawson loves a cliffhanger, and my friends that have read this have all been like shocked by the cliffhanger, which does not bode well for me, I have to say. This is a continuation of HMRC, which is about Her Majesty's Royal Coven, a coven of witches that work for the Crown with the government, and it's also in the backdrop this story about these 5 friends who have changed and drifted apart as they grew older, but with this witchy like thing hanging over them, and there's a trans character, and the way it's dealt with is fantastic. Obviously Juno Dawson being a trans person herself, I loved HMRC, and I'm really looking forward to the Shadow Cabinet. Next up is the most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and I know I said I wasn't going to use it, but I will for this one. It's Heartstopper Volume 5. I have been rereading and rereading Heartstopper, and I've been rewatching it, and I'm so excited for Season 2, and I'm very excited for Volume 5. I cannot get enough of Heartstopper. I love it so much, and I am so excited for the next volume. It feels like we've been waiting ages. Obviously Alice had to have a break, and I totally respect that, because I cannot imagine having to try and keep up with writing all the volumes, doing all the tours, doing the TV series. Like, that's a lot for anybody. So I don't mind at all that they've taken a break, but I love it enough that I'm so happy to be back in the world and back with Nick and Charlie and all the gang. Next question is biggest disappointment. For that, it's going to be Down the Rabbit Hole by Holly Madison. This book was an absolute joke. Disappointment doesn't even cover it. I am disappointed in her as a person for this book. I don't think I'm going to waste any further breath on this book. I feel about this book how Jem feels about Nothing But Blackened Teeth. But the main character is a real person, and she's kind of trash, I'll be honest. So yeah, so disappointed. Unbelievably disappointed in this book. Next question on a happier note is the biggest surprise, and I did struggle a little bit with that. There's a couple of books that I could have used, but I ended up going with A Dowry of Blood by S.D. Gibson. This book, I did not think it was going to be for me. It is like a horror based book based on the Brides of Dracula, and the first paragraph of this had me hooked. Like, that was me, hook, line and sinker. Not that hook, line and sinker, but me hook, line and sinker for this book. This is the Beautiful Fairy edition given to me by Bobby, and it is a story about Dracula's brides and the way that he manipulates and abuses and treats them, and it's from the point of view of his sort of like first bride, Constanta, and this really shows abuse, like marital abuse, and the way that it is sinister, and the way that it creeps up on you, and the way that it is just so like sinister is the only word I can think of. Like, this book is so beautiful and so wonderful and just so well done, but it is so dark. But it is, if you can, like, it's all the trigger warnings for abuse, like, if you can think of it as a trigger warning for abuse in this. But if you're okay with things like that, read it. It does have a trigger warning list in it, so go ham. Next is favourite new author, and that can be a debut author or an author that is new to you. I don't think I've read any debut authors this year so far, but new to me is Becky Chambers. I know I used some of her other books for another one, but she's the only really newish author that I've had. I have had others, but like, again, I've used them for their other prompts. So Becky Chambers, I've read 5 of her books, or 4 books and a novella, and absolutely loved them. I cannot get enough of this series. I'm looking forward to rereading this, and I'm so looking forward to rereading this. It's such a nice, calm, quiet series where nothing happens, and there's no stress, and there's no stakes, and it's just about people, about characters, and those are my favourite kinds of books. This is not for somebody who wants a high fantasy, high speed sci-fi novel. This is for somebody who wants something that is just chill. Next question is your newest favourite character, and this is literally my newest favourite character because I'm still technically reading the book, and that's Michael from The Kiss Quotient. Michael is the man to end all men. Like, I love Michael so much so far. I'm only 100 pages in, but like, by far favourite character. I'm just loving him. I do have other characters that I really like, but a lot of them are rereads. So favourite new character just has to be Michael. Kiss Quotient is about Stella, who is autistic and is very successful, but she doesn't have any sort of romantic life. So she decides to hire an escort to teach her how to have sex, and Michael is that escort. But Michael's actually a really nice guy, like a genuinely nice guy, and obviously they're gonna fall in love, but I love it so much. I love Michael. Next question is a book that made you cry, and I think one book really gets to take that prize, and that is The No-Show by Beth O'Leary. When I tell you I cried like a baby at this book, floods of ugly tears when I read this book, and I could feel it about to happen, like the thing that made me cry. I could, like, there was a point where I realised what was going to happen, and like my heart was beating out my chest. I was like hyperventilating, like maybe it won't happen, and it happened, and then that was me for the rest of the book. There have been a couple of others that made me cry, but this one in particular broke my heart. It made me sob. This is about 3 women who go on or stood up for dates, breakfast, lunch and dinner dates with this guy whose name I can't remember, Joseph, and it kind of weaves the story of these 3 women and figuring out why Joseph stood them up and how he's dating all 3 of them and like what's going on with that, and the way Beth O'Leary messes with your emotions through this entire book, it's criminal. The way she manipulates you, and it's so clever. To oppose that, next is a book that made you happy, and for that, thank you, Becca Fowle, because that is love, theoretically. This book is the newest in the Ellie Hazelwood STEMinist novels. This is about 2 physicists, a theoretical and a... I can never remember what the other one is, like the other ones that's not theoretical physics. And this is about our main character, Elsie, who is an adjunct professor. She doesn't get paid much, and she works on the side as a fake girlfriend. And there's only one client that she spends more time with, one client that she does multiple sort of appearances with, and that is Jack's brother. Elsie then gets a chance to interview for MIT for a position there, and who's on the board but Jack? And Jack is like, but you said you were a teacher or a librarian, I can't quite remember now. And she's like, huh, oops. So he thinks she's lying to his brother. She's not going to out his brother, has hired a fake date. And she also really wants to get into this school, like, as a professor, because years ago he wrote this article that shamed and destroyed the reputation of theoretical physicists, and the person that it affected was her sort of boss and her mentor. And so they've got this hate thing going on, but it's a misunderstanding because, you know, romance novel, and Elsie already hates him and wants to show him up, but he's like, you're never going to get this job. And she thinks it's just because she's a theoretical physicist. And then in the background as well, he's like, why are you lying to my brother? And she's like, I'm not lying to your brother. And he's like, well, my brother thinks you're this. And she's like, I'm not having this conversation with you. And of course his brother's away on a retreat and nobody can get a hold of him. And it's just, Jack as a character is one of my favourite characters. I said, like, Michael, who I said was my favourite character, is like Jack mixed with Fox from Hook, Line and Sinker. And this book just, it made me so happy to read, I couldn't stop smiling. Next up is the most beautiful book that you own, and I recently got this and couldn't not choose it, and that is this beautiful fairy edition of Legends and Lattes. If you want to say this isn't beautiful, you can fight me, because look at it. And it's got the rainbow edges, and there's more holographic on the underneath, but look, like I got this and spent like a good 10 minutes or so just staring at it in the light, because, you know, this is Legends of the Lattes by Travis Baldry. It's about Viv, who is a mercenary and an orc, and she decides she wants to take her savings and open up a cafe and give people coffee. Coffee is a gnomish invention and nobody else really knows what it is, but she's determined to bring coffee to the masses, and it is just a beautiful, quiet, light fantasy story. And again, the stakes are so low, but it's just such a lovely story. And like, go over to Lisa's channel, she will tell you all about Legends and Lattes. Next question, and one that I don't tend to like. So that is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? If you go and watch my entire TBR update video, those are the books I need to read by the end of the year. I also have books that are compulsory reads, like the Helen Huang books, which I'm doing a read along with. For Chloe's read along, I'll put that in the description. I'm also taking part in the Schwab along, so I think Tunnel of Bones, like the Cassidy Blake ones, I've still got to read those, but other than that, I really just want to get through my TBR, so this question always like confuses me. Quite similar to that, so favourite video or post you've done so far this year was my entire TBR update. I showed you my entire TBR, what is on my TBR, all 80 odd books of it, and it reinvigorated me to want to read these books, to like give me that passion to pick up these books that have been sitting off in a corner for so long, and it really did give me the reading bug, which is why I've now read 100 books in 6 months, because it gave me a boost to pick up my TBR books. And the last question is your favourite book community members. I love everybody. Like, I love everybody that I follow. I've got a group chat with some lovely bookish friends, and I love watching all their videos. I will try and link everybody down below. There's just so many of them, I can't pick favourites. I just can't. I love watching everybody, but I'll tag all my friends down below that I love, and you'll just have to deal with that. But I'm really bad at these questions. So yeah, that is my mid-year freak out tag. I do feel a little freaked out, I'm not gonna lie. I do feel a little freaked out, so good job. And it's the middle of the year. It's now the end of June, and yikes. But yeah, let me know if you've read any of the books in the comments, and let me know what you think. If you got here, leave me a rainbow of some kind down below for Legends and Lattes, this beautiful rainbow holographic edition, and that lets me know that you're here, even if you don't have time or spoons or whatever to comment. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!